So good morning all. So in the previous class we have studied about introduction part and few things we have completed, right, like properties of a magnet, okay, and how the magnetic effects and electromagnetic induction is different from each other. Okay, so these all things we have studied in the previous class. So let us start with the today's class. So can you see the screen here? Children, can you see the screen? And can you see the some examples I have given here? Can you see that? Okay. So I will ask you few questions first and then we'll move to the next subtopic. So the first question, you can read the first question what it is. It is showing that comment about the magnetic field, comment about the magnitude and direction in the following cases of magnetic field lines. The first question is comment about the magnitude and directions in the following cases of magnetic field lines. Okay. So now you can see here the magnetic field lines. There are two scenarios here. In the first picture, you can see that in the first image, magnetic field lines are given. Okay, here. So, but what difference you can find here? You can see here the direction is in the same side. See the direction of this the arrow mark you can see. It is in the same side. Direction is same. Along with that, you can see the distance between the two magnetic field lines. It is equidistance. Here also equal distance and here also equal distance is there. That means what we can say in the first image, we can say that the magnitude of the magnetic field line is constant. Okay. And the magnetic field lines direction in the same direction, that is direction is also constant in the first scenario. Whereas in the second scenario, you can see here also magnetic field lines are available. But these magnetic field lines, if you observe carefully, the distance between each magnetic field lines are not same. It is not constant. You can see here the distance is less, then here it is comparatively more, then again comparatively more here as well, then so on. So that the distance between the two magnetic field lines is not constant. But whereas the direction of the magnetic field lines in the same direction. So in this scenario, we can say that the direction is constant, but the magnitude is not constant. So clear about this, what comment we can give? In the first scenario, we can give a comment, the magnetic field line direction is constant, as well as you can say that magnitude is also constant. Okay. But in the second scenario, you can say that the magnetic field lines direction is constant, it is same, but not the magnitude. So this is the comment on the first question. So coming to the second question, the three diagrams in the following figure shows the lines of force, that is magnetic field lines between the poles of two magnets. Identify the poles A, B, C, D, E and F. The question you need to understand clearly. They have given three diagrams here, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, these are the three figures. Okay, shows the lines of force, the force magnetic field lines you can see here. Okay, you can see the magnetic field lines there. Then they have asked there to find out what they are told to find out. Identify the poles. We have to name the poles, whether it is north pole or whether it is south pole, we have to name it. So now how to understand which is the north pole and which is the south pole? You should know the properties of a pole. I had already informed you all the magnetic field lines. If it is a north pole, the magnetic field lines move away from the north pole. Okay. And if it is a south pole, the magnetic field lines comes towards the south pole. Correct. So in the first image, in the first diagram, can you tell me which pole, we can mention as A and which pole we can mention as B? Can you mention the answer? A means which pole and B means which pole? Can you tell me? Can you tell me which is A and which is B pole? Yes, you can message here. You can write in the chat box. A is which pole? Can you hear me? Yes, North Pole. And B is which pole? B is which pole? You said A is North Pole. Yes, correct. Both are the North Poles. Good. Why? Because you can see the direction of magnetic field lines are away. It's going outwards. So you can say both are north and north. So this is also north, whereas I can say, see, we can say this is also North Pole and this is also a North Pole. Correct? Both are north. Now, just see, observe this C and D. Magnetic field lines coming towards the magnet. So, what it is both? Both are south. Correct, Sneha? So, both, Khushi, correct. So, both are south. So, this is also south and this is also south. Correct. Good. Next, the third one figure you can see here. Can you tell me what is E and F? Which is E and F pole? Can you see? Can you tell here? See, the magnetic field lines is going like this way. E is north and south. Good, correct. It is correct. So E is north. This is north. And this is south. Correct. So both E and F. So north and south. So have you understood this question? We'll move to the next one. Okay. So next one is, label the north pole of the magnet and draw the field lines on which the compass lies. Label the north pole of the magnet. Here you can see this is the bar magnet is kept here and here it is a magnetic compass. Label the north pole of the magnet and draw the field lines on which the compass lies. On which the compass lies. Okay. Now can you tell me, now you can observe this magnetic compass. So with the help of this magnetic compass, can you tell me where is the north pole and where is the south pole? You should know the property. You should know the property of the magnet. You should know the property of the magnet first. So can you tell me? Huh? Yeah, you can chat there and you can tell me. Or you can unmute yourself and tell me, one of you. You can unmute yourself and you can tell me in a magnetic compass.
Left is north and right is south.
The arrow mark showing it is? In a magnetic compass I am asking. I am asking about a magnetic compass. Yes, Vijay. This is only questions. This is not on any page number. This is, I have own questions I have typed and I have asking you for all. It's not in the textbook. Huh, can you tell me? This is, you can see the arrow mark. As I have told you, when you take a, it is in textbook. It's not there in the textbook, no? It's there in the textbook. These questions are there in the textbook. As some of you are saying that it is in textbook. Okay, whatever it is, just you can see the questions are given in front of you on a slide. You can see the slide and you can answer me. It's not necessary where the questions are. So here you can see the magnetic compass. Okay, in the magnetic compass, so only you should not absent in between. When you take a magnetic compass and if you kept any place, you know, always it comes into the rest of north and south. And I have already told you that arrow marks shows it is a north pole. So this is what? North. Okay, this is north pole, and that means obviously this is south. Okay, obviously it is south pole. Okay, this is south. Now this is the bar magnet. If this is the south, obviously it should be here north, because we know that the north and south attracts, and north and north repels, that means south near, it should be north. So this is north and this is south, correct? Okay, now label the n north pole of the magnet. We have labeled north pole, and draw the field lines on which the compass lies, now if it is a north pole, that means the magnetic field line should be like this way, it should be showing like this way, correct? Because the magnetic fields from outside the bar magnet, it moves from north to south, we know very well. So clear about this question? Clear about this question? The lesson name is electromagnetism. The name of the lesson is electromagnetism. Okay, so the question is clear to you all? Okay, the next question is, just a minute. The next slide is not coming. One minute. Okay. So the next question is, you can see here, label the north pole. I think this we have done it already. No, label the north pole of the magnet and draw the field lines on which the compass lies. That's already we have finished. Next we'll come to the next one. The diagram shows a bar magnet surrounding by 4 plotting compasses. Mark in it the direction of the compass needle for each of the cases B, C and D. We have to show the direction of the compasses. In one compass, this is a magnetic compass. Okay, in one compass they have shown the north and south. Obviously the arrow mark is north and this is south. The other 3 we have to find out where are the directions. Okay, and also we have to find out the poles of the given bar magnet. Where is the north pole and where is the south pole? Okay, so if it is given that, obviously if south is here, means x should be north pole, correct? X should be north pole if it is south. If this is north pole, okay, so this is south pole, correct? So the north pole is this, means if the line moves like this way, that means south pole of this compass should be here, this should be south, correct? And it should show like this way, and so this will be the north, correct? When we come to this compass, same it will be again. If it is north means, so same it is again, this is north, this is south. Now if this pole is south, that means this compass also we can say this is north, and this is south. Correct? So any doubt in this question? The diagram shows a bar magnet surrounded by 4 plotting compasses. So they told us to find out B, C and D cases where the compass needle and where are the directions of the compass needles. So any doubt in this question? Clear the questions? Question is clear to you all? If it is clear, you can say yes. If no, say no. I'll explain you once again. Okay. So now next question is, how does the magnet strength drop off over a distance? Why it is drop off over a distance? How we can say? How we can say, for example, if you're taking, how does the magnet strength drop off over a distance? Okay. Yes. So what you can say, if you increase the distance of a magnet, then the strength of the magnet exponentially decreases. If you increase the distance of a magnet, for example, any magnetic material you have kept and one magnet you have taken, both are nearby. Okay. But when you take that magnet away from the magnetic material, that means you are increasing the distance between the magnetic material and the magnet. That time what happens? Automatically the force of attraction, or you can say strength of the magnet, exponentially decreases. This is the answer for the last question. Okay, clear about this? Fourth question, the last question, how does the magnet strength drop off over a distance? That means, for example, this is one magnetic material is there, okay, and here a bar magnet is there. Okay, now the force of attraction is very strong because it is nearby. But when the second time, for example, this is a one magnetic material, if I'll take this bar magnet away from the magnetic material, what happened? The distance is increased. If the distance is increased, strength of the magnet exponentially decreases. Correct? This is the answer for this question. Any doubt in the last question? Clear about it? We can go for the next. We can go for next. Okay. So here are the few certain terms. So you should understand these few certain terms and then we'll go to the main lesson. Okay. So here a scientist, Irving, okay, Irving is a scientist. He has found the molecular theory of magnetism. Irving is a scientist, had found a theory, molecular theory of magnetism. So what the statement says, it states that each molecule of a magnetic substance is an independent magnet irrespective of whether the substance is magnetized or not, and are known as molecular magnets. To understand this, I will take one example. What example we can take for this? We can take example of iron rod. Okay, if you take example of iron rod, okay, iron rod is a magnetic material. We know that it is a magnetic material, okay, but without magnetic induction, it does not behave as a magnetism. Without magnetic induction means until and unless you are not bringing any magnet to the magnetic, near to the magnetic material, that material doesn't behave like as a magnetized. Correct? If you have taken one iron rod and you have kept in one room without a magnet nearby it, it doesn't behave as a magnetized. Okay, but in that some magnetic molecules already are there. But how they are magnetic molecules in a iron rod? They are randomly placed. They are random. You can see here the molecules are in a random way. Magnetic, see here, molecule of a magnets are in random. They are in a random way. But when you bring the magnetic material near to the magnetic material, when you bring the magnet to the near to the magnetic material, these random molecules of a magnet takes one direction. They will face one direction, and so the iron behaves as a magnetized. Okay, so this is the molecular theory of Earings. Earings scientist, he has given this molecular theory. What he said, when you take a iron rod, until and unless you are not bringing the magnet near to the iron rod, it doesn't behave as a magnetized. Already the molecule of a magnet will be present in the iron material, but it will not be in the same direction, it will be in the random direction. But when you bring the magnet near to the magnetic material, it gives one direction, and then that magnetic material behaves as a magnetized. Okay, so clear about this? We'll move to the next. Any doubt in this? Clear? It is not clear. See what I am saying here, Earings molecular theory of magnetized. Okay, Earings molecular theory of magnetized. What he says that, it states that each molecule of a magnetic substance is an independent, they are independent magnet, irrespective of whether the substance is magnetized or not, and are known as molecular magnets. These all are molecular magnets. Okay, next. Inverse square law of magnetism. This is not in your textbook, but these are the certain terms you should know, so I am explaining this. Okay. So what it shows that, what it says that, we know that similar magnetic poles repel and dissimilar magnetic poles attract. This force of attraction or repulsion is the Coulomb force. When what is called as a Coulomb force, they have told here, we know that similar magnetic poles repel, we know already this property, and dissimilar magnetic pole attracts. This force of attraction is nothing but, or repulsion is nothing but, Coulomb force. Such type of force is called as what? Coulomb force. It may come for 1 marks question or 2 marks question. What is Coulomb force? You have to write it as similar magnetic poles repels or dissimilar magnetic poles attract. This force of attraction or repulsion is called as what? Coulomb force, whose magnitude is given by the inverse square law, which states that the Coulomb force of attraction or repulsion is depending on 2 points. So which are those 2 points? First is directly proportional to the product of the pole strength of the magnet. First point is directly proportional to the product of the pole strength of the magnets. What is this pole strength? What do you mean by pole strength? What do you mean by pole strength? What is the pole strength? Do you know what is pole strength? You have any answer for this? Pole strength means what? Do you know what is pole strength? For example, what is this pole strength? Directly proportional to the product of the pole strength of the magnets. Pole strength means it is an ability of a pole to get attracted or repelled by another pole. What is pole strength? It is an ability of a pole to get attracted or repelled by another pole. That is mean by what? That is mean by pole strength. Clear about this? So first point is directly proportional to the product of pole strength of the magnet. That means we can say that force F equals to what it is said, pole strength we will consider as M1 and M2. Okay, one magnetic, for example, this is one magnet, we will consider as M1. Okay, and another magnetic pole is there, we will consider as M2. So force of attraction F is equals to, F is directly proportional, so equal to, we cannot say, F is directly proportional to M1 into M2. Okay, like this way we can mention. So directly proportional to, okay, Coulomb force is directly proportional to the product of the pole strength of the magnet, that is M1 and M2. There are the 2 poles. Next, it is inversely proportional to square of a distance between the between them and acts along the line joining the poles. Okay. For example, I can say here one magnet is there, and here one magnet is there. This is South Pole and this is North Pole. This is South Pole and this is North Pole. Okay. Inversely proportional to square of a distance, distance between this. You can see here one magnet is there, here one magnet is there. Distance between this, north to south, them act along the lines joining the poles. This distance, okay. So we can say that, we can say F, this is troubling, F is inversely proportional to square between them. So R square I can take here, or so this equation number 1 we can give. This is 1 and this is we can give 2. Okay. Combining both, what we will get? F. If we want to remove this proportionality sign, we have to take, what we have to take? Okay, I will first write this, M1, M2 upon R square. Combining both I am saying. Okay, both I have taken directly proportional to the product of pole strength. Force is directly proportional to M1 and M2. And the second one is, force is inversely proportional. Inversely means you know that it is decreasing. One is increasing, one is decreasing. So 1 by R square. So together, combining together, we get M1, M2 divided by R square. Okay, this is not much important, but even though I am explaining you all. Okay. So we'll move to the next one.
How pole strength is measured?
What happened?
Ma'am, pole strength is measured.
That I will come, density I will come. After this I am going to come to the density. That are the formulas. Okay. So next is magnetic permeability. Okay, magnetic permeability, you can see here. What do you mean by magnetic permeability? Magnetic permeability is the ability of the medium to allow the magnetic lines of a force to pass through it, or to allow itself to be influenced by magnetic field. So what is this magnetic permeability? Okay, for example, you can say maybe there is a medium, air medium between two magnets. Magnetic permeability is the ability of the medium, any medium. For example, I have a two magnets with me, but with that, which is the medium? Air is the medium. Okay, to allow the magnetic lines of a force to pass through it, or to allow itself to be influenced by a magnetic field. That is called as what? Permeability. Okay, magnetic permeability, and this is denoted by letter nu. Permeability is denoted by letter what? Nu. So clear about the magnetic permeability? It's very difficult to pronounce. Any doubt in this? It is the ability of the medium to allow the magnetic field lines of force to pass through it. So maybe air is the medium, so that the magnetic field lines you can observe there. Okay. So the next one is magnetic flux. So what is mean by magnetic flux? It is the total number of magnetic field lines passing through the given area. Okay, what is meant by magnetic flux? It is the total number of magnetic field lines. For example, you take this. These are the magnetic field lines. This is one of the magnetic material we have taken. This is the magnetic material is there, and these are the magnetic field lines. Okay, it is the total number of magnetic field lines passing through the given area. Passing through the given area is called as what? Magnetic flux. So clear about magnetic flux? It is the total number of magnetic field lines passing through the given area. Maybe this is the magnetic material and they are passing through this. That given area is called as what? A magnetic flux, and it is denoted by phi. Okay, phi. This is the symbol phi. What is magnetic flux density? Okay, it is the magnetic flux per unit perpendicular across sectional area. For example, you can say this is the magnetic field. Okay, this is the magnetic field and this is the area. They are the perpendicular cross section area is called as what? Magnetic flux density. These are the some terms that you should know about it. So I am explaining this. So it is the force experienced by a north pole of unit strength kept in a magnetic field. It is denoted by B. So magnetic field density is denoted by B. Okay, intensity of magnetic field. What is the unit of it? The unit of this intensity of magnetic field is Tesla. Have you heard about this? Tesla, and CGS unit is Gauss. Okay, or you can say WB per meter square, and unit is Oersted or Gauss. CGS unit is Oersted or Gauss. So this is the unit of magnetic intensity of a magnetic field. Unit of intensity of magnetic field. Okay, now we'll start with our chapter. All these things I have just explained, the terms I have explained you all. Now we will move to our main topic, that is electromagnetism, and the first point in that, Oersted experiment on the magnetic effect of electric current. You can open your textbook and the first page, you can go to the first page. In the first page, that is page number 230. You can open everybody page number 230. Now your main topic is started. Till now just I had given you introduction only. It is related term for the magnet I have given. So now you can open page number 230. The first is given as Oersted experiment on the magnetic effect of electric current. Okay. So in that you can observe this first figure. So you know that Hans Oersted in 1820 in his experiments observed that when an electric current is passed through a conducting wire, a magnetic field is produced around it. This already I have discussed with you all. When what he has observed, when there is a magnetic electric current is passing, and if you keep a magnetic compass, the magnetic compass shows the deflection. This already we have studied in the previous class. Okay, so now we will study phi experiment. He has done his phi experiment when he accidentally found it, that experiment. Who is that? Someone is talking in between. Okay, so everybody opened your book and have you observed this phi figures they have given? Okay, we'll speak about the first one now. When you observe carefully this first one, what you can see here? This is the battery, rheostat, key is open or it is closed now? It is open or closed? It is closed or open? Key is closed or open? It is open. Okay.
Open.
Yes, the key is open. When the key is open, the current will pass through it. When key is open in a circuit, current passes? No, correct. So first experiment he has done this. Key open and compass needle kept below the wire. The compass needle is kept below the wire. Okay, he has kept the compass needle below the wire, and what he has observed, when the key is open, that is no current passes through the wire. When the key is open, the current is not passing through the wire. The needle points in the north-south direction. You can see here the needle is pointing towards north and south direction. That is along the north magnetic field, with the north pole of needle pointing towards the north direction. Okay, in this position the needle is parallel to the wire. So now in this position we can say the needle is parallel to the wire. Okay, the first observation is this. What he observed, when the current is not passing through the circuit, he observed that the wire and the compass is parallel to each other, and it is north and south pole. The rest, the compass needle is at rest at north and south pole. Next, what he has done in the second experiment, you can observe the second figure. When key is closed, now you can observe here, the key is closed now, it is not open. When the key is closed, what you can observe there? When key is closed, current will pass or current will not pass? Current will pass or current will not pass? Current is passing now or no? Yes, current is passing. Yes, when the key is closed, current is passing now. So what the second observation? When the key is closed or pressed, a current passes in the wire. When the key is closed, current is passing in the wire in the direction from, you can see here, from A, like this way, plus to minus, you know that always, conventionally. So current is moving from, you can see the arrow mark, it's moving from this side and like this way it is moving. So current direction from A to B, and the north pole of the needle deflects towards the west. You can see here the north pole is deflecting towards the west. See here, north, south, west and east. It's towards west. It's deflecting towards the west. If current in the wire is increased, the deflection of the needle also increases. So if the current in the wire starts increasing, the reflection also increases. So this is his second observation. So clear about the second observation? In the second observation, what he has done? Key is closed, the current is flowing in a circuit, and the observation is north pole deflected towards the west. Okay. So this is the second observation. Now coming to the third observation, you can see the figure here. So here it is closed only, key is closed only. But what is the other things you can observe here? What it has done here? It is same, here also closed, here also closed. But what the difference is there from this figure to this figure? Can you answer me? The chat box. Here also current.
Direction of current is changed, ma'am.
Yes?
Of current is changed.
Direction of current is changed. Good, correct. You can see here battery. See now here. Direction of current is like this way now. From B to A. Earlier it was from A to B. But now it is from B to A. So current reversed and compass needle kept below the wire. So what is the third observation? When the direction of current in the wire is reversed, when the direction of current in a wire is reversed by reversing the connection at a terminals of the battery, the north pole of the needle deflects towards the east. You can see here the north pole deflecting towards the east. You can observe here, it comes like this way towards the east. Okay. So clear about the third point. We'll move to the fourth figure. When you fourth figure, can you tell me now again what you observed here? You see here, it is this is also closed. The key is closed. Here also key is closed. Key is pressed. What is the change again in this figure and this figure? What again is changed?
Ma'am,
Kept above the wire.
compass is placed above the wire.
What happened?
Is kept above the wire, ma'am. I repeat, compass needle is kept above the wire.
Compass is kept above the wire.
Yeah, if the compass needle is placed just above the wire, what happens? The north pole deflects towards the east. The north pole deflects towards the east. Okay. See here, north pole again it is deflecting towards the east. Same observation is there. When the direction of the current in a wire is from A to B, and again the direction of the current is from A to B. Okay. You have to think it is above the wire. Don't think that it is below the wire. In the third observation, what is done? It is above the wire. Okay. So now the fifth observation. What is the fifth observation? You can say
Current is reversed. Current is reversed.
And the wire is kept above the wire only, ma'am.
And the
Needle is kept above the wire.
needle is
Compass needle is kept above the wire.
above the wire. So again here you can see that the current is reversed again. And now where the north pole is deflecting towards, it's deflecting towards east or it is deflecting towards West. Where it is reflecting towards? North pole is reflecting towards which direction?
It is deflecting towards the west, ma'am.
West direction. Okay. Yes, correct. So have you understood the concept of Oersted experiment? Any doubt here? So what he has observed that a current produced a magnetic field around it. A current, or you can say a moving charge. A moving charge produces a magnetic field around it. Okay, this is called the magnetic effect of current. As already I have told you, what do you mean by magnetic effect of current? When he has conducted an experiment accidentally, he observed that a current, a moving charge produces a magnetic field around it. This is called the magnetic effect of current. And the strength of magnetic field depends on the magnitude of a current, and its direction depends on the direction of current. So what he says that the strength of magnetic field means magnitude of magnetic field is also depends on the magnitude of current. Means if the current increases, magnetic field also increases. Okay, and the direction depends on the direction of current. So clear about Oersted experiment? Any doubt in the Oersted experiment? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay, it is clear. We'll move to the next one. I think the meeting will end for all participants in 5 minutes. So we'll continue the class on Monday because tomorrow is the second Saturday holiday. So in the next class, what we are going to study, I will just explain in short. We are going to study in magnetic field pattern produced by current carrying conductor having different shapes. We are going to study about different magnetic field patterns are produced by current carrying conductor having different shape. That is a straight conductor, a circular loop and a solenoid. We are going to study these three different terms, okay, in the next class. Clear about it? What today we have studied? We have studied the different terms of a magnetic field. That is, we have studied about the magnetic flux, we have studied about the magnetic density, correct? We have studied about some questions related to magnetic field lines, and also we have studied about Oersted experiment on the magnetic effects of electric current. So we will meet on Monday and we will discuss again the remaining part. Okay, have a nice day everyone, and study whatever question answers are given to you all, whatever things teachers are explaining, you go and study. Okay, thank you.
Ma'am, will there be class tomorrow?
No, tomorrow there is a holiday. It is second Saturday, no? So tomorrow is the holiday.